This CPD presentation is brought to you by the Wood Window Alliance, part of the British Woodworking Federation, a construction CPD service member. In 2010, research by English Heritage looked into the state of conservation areas and found two main problems. The first and biggest problem was unsympathetic replacement doors and windows. The second was that Article 4 directions were rarely enforced. Just 13% of local authorities had an Article 4 direction, and just 36% of conservation areas had seen enforcement action in 3 years. Yet conservation areas with Article 4 directions are twice as likely to improve as those without. English Heritage is not the only organisation to have noticed the negative effect of replacement windows. In December 2013, a survey by the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors listed the top 10 crimes against period homes. The number 1? Replacing original good quality sash windows with inappropriate modern aluminium or PVC-U casements and stripping out original doors. And according to English Heritage, these replacements don't just look ugly, they reduce the value of a home too. With so much professional opinion ranged up against this practice, why is it still going on? Well, as English Heritage points out, not enough councils have Article 4 directions, and those that do aren't issuing enough enforcement orders. But also the window industry has been slow to provide conservation officers with information about the available options. And at the same time, English Heritage's advice ignores replacement in favour of repair and ad hoc energy efficiency measures that are out of touch with what many homeowners want. This advice has had the perverse effect of allowing the spread of PVC-U to continue. Homeowners who want warm, draft-free, condensation-free, quiet, secure, low-maintenance, affordable replacements are met by English Heritage advice on repairing old windows and using curtains to keep out the drafts. It's hardly surprising the public is voting with its feet. Here's an example of PVC-U storm profile casements replacing sliding sashes. Here, PVC-U inward tilting windows with fake glazing bars have replaced sliding sashes. Another example, in a national park. These windows have since had proper timber sliding sashes reinstated. The wood window industry has a very good solution to this problem. We call it the 3 R's. Repair, which is always a good, simple option with wood. Replicate. For historic buildings, the industry can provide replica windows where required. And replace. For most period homes and listed properties, including those in conservation areas, replacement with a high-performance modern window is the best solution. Let's look at these 3 options in greater detail. Firstly, repair. Many timber windows can still be repaired and their efficiency improved by simple measures, such as refitting the sashes with draft proofing, although this can be quite an expensive procedure, fitting heavy curtains or shutters, effective only at night, and secondary glazing. This can be awkward, it can look wrong inside the room, and care needs to be taken to align glazing bars, etc. Repair is often the best solution for historic and important listed buildings, as it retains the pattern of the original glass and uneven putty glazing. Here's a before and after example of a renovation showing the character of the old glass. Secondly, replicate. If the windows in a historic or imported listed building are beyond repair, new windows will have to be made to replicate the existing windows. They will probably be site glazed and decorated, using putty glazing, single sheets of glass, not double glazing, and they could take advantage of different kinds of restoration glass to mimic the character of the older glass. Here's an example of the renovation of a historic building that was destroyed by fire. Single glazed replica period windows were supplied by one of our members. The third and most practical option in most cases is to replace with modern high-performance windows and doors. They'll be factory finished, double or even triple glazed, draft proof and energy efficient. Even sliding sashes are available with A energy ratings and U values as low as 1.4, lower still with triple glazing. They offer high levels of security, long maintenance intervals, typically 8 to 10 years on white or pale opaque coatings, and a long life. The frames have an expected 60-year service life. All this and modern wood windows can offer the authentic look and feel of wood and authentic period detailing. For example, the elegant sightlines provided by slim glazing bars, and the authentic appearance of putty glazing without all of the associated problems. The casement window on the left here is putty glazed. The window on the right isn't. It has what we call putty line glazing. This is an internally beaded example and exhibits exactly the sharp external profile of the putty glazed window, in this instance achieved with no V-groove in the corners. Here's the same comparison for a sliding sash. On the left, the putty glazed window. On the right, the effect of the putty line glazing. Notice the traditional horn feature on the top sash. There are other putty line options. For example, a V-jointed frame internally glazed. And on the right, an example of an external glazing bead replicating the putty line. And we can also offer a range of authentic moulding designs, such as, from left to right, lamb's tongue, Gothic, ovalo, and beveled. We talked earlier of special glass. Here's an example of machine-drawn glass. You can see the character in the reflection. Other types, such as hand-drawn and crown glass, are also available. Modern windows don't just offer good energy efficiency. They offer advanced security and functions designed for ease of use. All windows meet British standards, and additional security is available, including safety glass, window locks, and specification secured by design standards. The illustration shows a vertical sliding sash window with an inward tilt option for easy cleaning or redecorating, and a safety opening restrictor. Hardware is available in different designs, materials and finishes. Sliding sashes can use traditional cords and weights, or where space is limited, a modern spiral balance. Let's look at some period designs. Period casements should fit flush into their frames, not overlap the frame as in the storm casement shown. Here are two examples of modern high-performance double-glazed windows using traditional Georgian designs. Here's an example of a round-headed Regency style, on the left in a listed terrace, on the right in a modern house. Here are some different Victorian styles. These triple glazed windows are in an arts and crafts style house. Here are examples of modern double glazed windows in Edwardian buildings. Interwar designs including leaded lights. This is an interesting example of modern wood windows used in the conservation of a famous 60s housing estate, Ralph Erskine's Byker Estate, with a Grade 2 star listing. When the original brightly coloured single-glazed aluminium windows had to be replaced, timber was chosen as the best way of replicating the shapes, colours and glazing detail of the originals. At the residents' request, the windows are white inside. Visit our website for a range of conservation and period building case studies. So how are we able to achieve such slim glazing bars in multi-pane sashes? Traditionally, multi-pane sashes required thick glazing bars in order to achieve the necessary rebates for double glazed units. Our members use one glazing unit for each sash. The individual panes are represented by a grid of spacer bars within the two panes of glass. These match the glazing bars that are applied to the surface of the glass. The result is impossible to tell apart from a window with individually glazed panes. Of course, a modern window will never look exactly the same as the old window it replaced. Inevitably, there's some loss of texture. Close up, it's possible to see the depth, the double glazing unit. the perfect surface of the glass lacks the character of old glass, and some people find the smooth surface of the coated wood too perfect. However, it's worth remembering that the old window would have looked very different when new, and that special glass is available to mimic the character of older glass. Let's take a moment to consider narrow cavity or slimline glazing units. They're often used in listed buildings or conservation areas, as they appear to provide a good compromise between energy efficiency and authenticity. Where possible, it is always preferable, however, to use standard cavity IGUs when replacing windows. They're less expensive, last longer, and are more energy efficient. If narrow cavity insulated glazing units are required, it's important to check they have the correct test evidence in place to ensure they're not subject to premature loss of performance or failure. Here are some tips. Ensure glass units are CE marked. Ensure they meet durability requirements set out in the British standards. Use acceptable glazing methods, not putty, as slim units are more vulnerable to the moisture ingress that is inevitable with putty glazing. Check warranty details. Bear in mind that the units are likely to need replacing significantly sooner than traditional double glazing units. For further advice, see our narrow cavity advice note. Here is a comparison of the typical energy efficiency of different glazing types. So just to recap, what are the advantages of modern high-performance wood windows? Authentic designs and period detailing, together with all the benefits of full factory finishing and double or triple glazing. They're quiet, safe and secure, low condensation, and they're highly energy efficient. And what are the advantages of specifying from members of the Wood Window Alliance? You can be sure that the windows will meet strict performance, quality and sustainability standards, that they comply with British standards, that they're made from sustainable timber and that the companies carry chain of custody certificates, that they have unbeatable warranties, that they're environmentally friendly, low maintenance, and have a 60-year estimated service life. For more information, download our leaflet, Replacing Windows in Conservation Areas, or visit the Conservation section of our website. To find a member, use the Find Windows and Doors function on the website. We hope you found this CPD piece helpful. Our members will always be happy to discuss individual cases with conservation officers to help arrive at the best solution for a building.